The amp is the icing on the cake. It can transform a cake, or the cake can be pretty rubbish, but still good icing. But if you got rubbish icing, no matter how good your cake is, no one's going to touch that.
Hey, it's Greg O'Rourke here from Fret Dojo, and in today's episode, we're breaking down something every guitarist should understand, but few truly explore: the 5 stages of guitar signal chain. We're joined by Berlin-based fusion guitarist Viktor Rufus, who's going to walk us through how your guitar tone evolves step by step from raw natural sound to some truly wild effects. You'll hear exactly how each stage shapes your tone, from a clean sound to adding reverb, modulation, and make sure you stay to the end for some full-blown fusion madness. If you've ever wondered how the pros build their guitar tone piece by piece, this episode is your blueprint. So join me, Ryan, and Victor today for this episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get into it. Victor, how you going? Great to see you.
Hey Greg, great to see you. Great to see you, Ryan.
Yeah, it's great to have you here today, Victor.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's definitely a privilege to be on the show with you two.
Oh, likewise, man. Privileged to have you here. And today we're talking about the 5 stages of signal chain when it comes to guitar playing, and especially, obviously, we're very jazz focused on this channel. So, and Victor, you yourself with your own playing are very jazz focused yourself. So, I'm really excited to discover this side of guitar playing with you, because I can only speak for myself. I know, Ryan, you do a lot more with gear and stuff like that, but a lot of my playing is just basically with me and my guitar and an amp, and that's pretty much it, a clean sound. So I'm eagerly awaiting what you can share with us in terms of how we can really enhance our playing and our sound through, adding various devices into the signal chain. So excited to see what you got, Victor.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say I'm a gearhead, but a lot of people would say that I am. So yeah, I think that tone is such an important thing behind a guitarist's sound and a guitarist's character and personality. So having different options, and I mean, there's so many options for guitar, it's ridiculous these days, that it's good to sort of break them down into sort of, let's begin from the bare bones, and what is jazz guitar starts with the guitar.
And maybe just before we start, Victor, like by the end of this episode, what are people going to kind of get out of it?
I think people are going to understand that there's more possibilities in creating your personalized sound and your personalized your voice than just an instrument. I think to get the ideas from your heads out into other people's ears, I mean, understanding that there are more possibilities than just a guitar and an amp, or a guitar, an amp, and a pedal, or a guitar,
totally.
A pedal board and an amp, or a guitar, a pedal board, a digital modeler, and an amp. Those are our 5 levels for today.
and who knows how far this could go. I have heard in the past, someone had told me that a guitarist once had made literally a pedal suit, which like a suit made of pedals, and he would kind of roll around on the ground as he was playing. So like, I don't know if we're going to get that far in this session. We'll see how we go.
No, I left my suit behind. And so,
right. Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I'm really curious what your thesis was about. Could you maybe talk about that for a second before we get back into the signal chain itself?
Oh yeah, sure. My thesis was on how Jim Hall comps to improvisers.
Oh yeah.
In a very specific part of his career. There was between 1956 and 1964, he sort of was fairly dominant in the LA jazz scene, and then he moved over to New York and then sort of progressed in his career. So the early part of my sort of range of years, I was looking at his playing with Jimmy Giuffre and also Chico Hamilton. And then when he moved himself over to New York, he played on like iconic albums such as The Bridge, So
Yeah.
Sonny Rollins sort of post hiatus,
Right.
where he sort of spent every day for 2 years standing on the Williamsburg Bridge.
Yeah.
And then the album which really shaped a lot of my thesis and a lot of my work was Undercurrent.
Oh, yeah.
The duo,
Oh, yeah.
the duo record with Bill Evans, and it was really interesting. Not only to and Paul Desmond, he played with the sax player Paul Desmond on Take 10, which was like a Paul Desmond led record. Same thing with the Desmond Blue, was also Jim Hall on it too. But from there, I actually chose more tracks from Take 10. That was my sort of my favorite record of that sort of collaboration.
It's awesome.
And I was studying how Jim would voice his chords and play under each improviser rhythmically. So I had not only the privilege of learning Jim's voicings and how he played, but I also transcribed all of the other horn players and other musicians that were around Jim at the time, so then I could see how he interacted with them too. There's so many different facets to improvising when we think about being a lead player, being a sort of creating melodies, but you also need to have that foundation to hold you there and something you can trust to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Bill Frisell said in the last few months, actually, it's the when you're playing in a band, it's about trusting everyone's there to catch you.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
And so learning how Jim would comp to other people, I think gave me a lot of insight to not only his playing and his character as a person, but also how composed he is as a guitarist and how much he is a composer, and whether it's, I guess, improvising is fast composition and then slow improvising is well, just composition then, really.
There's so many cool moments on those Jim Hall records, especially like the bridge where he's doing stuff you wouldn't even really think about as comping. I mean, playing those lines against Sonny Rollins, stuff like that. That really opened my ears to a ton of possibilities. In terms of accompanying another person. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it was. I really tried to find a narrow enough window that I could really find a snapshot of his playing and a snapshot of his headspace. It was really hard to not go outside of that range, because I mean, he's got his great sort of trio records with Don Thompson and Terry Clark, but I sort of had to put my limits on, be like, I can only focus on so much. And so after transcribing approximately 6,000 bars within that 8-year period of his playing, that was sort of gave me that insight.
Hey, Greg here from FretDojo.com. A quick break to mention something that might interest you. If you've been watching our videos and thinking, I'd love to try jazz guitar but don't know where to start, I've got something perfect for you. We're running a free 30-day jazz guitar challenge where I'll teach you the exact fundamentals you need to start improvising authentic jazz solos without overwhelming theory or complicated chord shapes. We'll start with simple 3-note chords, then learn to solo over a cool jazz blues progression. And by the end of the 30 days, you'll actually sound like a jazz guitarist instead of someone just running scales. The best part? It's completely free. No catch, no credit card required. I want to prove to you that jazz doesn't have to be this mysterious, intimidating thing. If you're ready to finally crack the jazz code, click the link in the description. Now back to today's lesson. Cool. Awesome. I feel like we need to get you back for like a Jim Hall podcast, man. But,
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, where are we? We're going to get back to this signal chain. So
Okay.
let's do it.
Let's get back to the cricket, people. All right. So I feel that's a very Australian reference. So apologies, Ryan.
Very much so.
Yeah.
yeah. Ryan has no idea what we're talking about.
Okay. Well, let's start with step 1, or stage 1, if you want to put it that way. I think, music, it's all about stages. Stage 1. So this is just the guitar by itself.
Beautiful.
Yeah, really nice, man. And that's the thing, isn't it? Like, I know we've only started with the first part of the signal chain, but there's a whole universe just there. You know, like the different sort of dynamic inflections you're doing, and the subtle tone changes you can do through striking the string in certain ways. There is a whole universe there, even without putting effects on. Like, so yeah, there's a lot to explore at that level.
Yeah, so I mean, to start with, it's always a thing about 80% of your sound comes from your hands and how you connect with the strings. I think a pick is very, very important, and it's good to have a lot of different picks with a lot of different surfaces, just so then when you're playing, you can like adjust your attack or how scratchy you like the sound. I mean, that's why I love these picks from Westville. They've got like a real buttery kind of soft. I mean, there's the DeAndrea Proplex strings as well. We're not endorsing any of these products.
Yeah.
We use them because we
can
really
if you
like
want.
them. Oh, I would love to. DeAndrea, please give me some picks. Yeah, and I would love to rattle off every single brand I use for them to send me through some more things. But I mean, it's come through many years of sort of creating or finding the best, I guess, way to sort of customize my own vehicle, which is my hands. So yeah, like everyone wants the best tires for their cars, so use the best picks.
All right, so what would stage 2 then be in our system here?
Okay, so stage 2 is your very standard gig setup of guitar, amp.
Classic.
Nothing beats that.
Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, you already have so many different possibilities now because of how many different amps are out there, and like there's just far too many. And I feel there's the hardest thing is the option paralysis.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to capture? What do you want to send out into the world? And how much do you want the amplifier to influence that? So, after many years of playing lots of different amps, lots of different tube amps, like in my time, I've had a number of Fender Silver Faces, mid 80s Mesa Boogie, and a Rivera Pubster, which is great as well. I've finally settled on not an AER. An AER amps,
not an AER.
Not an AER, because I found the AER acoustic amps always sounded fantastic, especially with a hollow body guitar. It just captured all of the right parts. It was just like a really good Instagram filter. But then I found out that Hughes and Kettner decided to borrow the chief engineer of AER to develop their Era 1 amplifier. So I now have that, and I'm very excited to be playing through this amp.
Awesome. So is that's a similar kind of solid state transistor kind of amp, or is that a tube amp?
So Hughes and Kettner, the German amp brand, known for crazy high gain tube distortion, and this is not it at all. This is it's pure. I kind of love this amplifier because I remember I've always wanted a Hughes and Kettner to just like play crazy wailing solos on, but now I have a Hughes and Kettner which highlights all the best acoustic properties of my instruments. And the Era 1 is fantastic because not only is it an acoustic amplifier, I mean, it's quite a sort of a high fidelity PA system as well. So you can plug vocalists into it, which again is great for the gigging guitarist, because if the house system isn't the greatest, you can then use your amp with a vocalist plugged into. It's got 2 combo input jacks. It's got an aux jack as well, so if you want to play some tracks as well or some ambient stuff behind, there's so many options for this amplifier. And it's got 250 watts of solid state headroom, which is great. So you can really punch it. There's a little like speaker post hole in the bottom so you can get off the ground, because all jazz guitarists, we know if we put an amp on the ground gets the best seat of the house.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating. So now you can sort of stick it up, and there's ways of getting it up different angles as well. And so I felt, and it's very competitively priced. And now being a German-based guitarist, having a German-made amplifier, it really does. I feel it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. So, what are some of we talked about option paralysis. So I think a lot of people kind of get stuck on that. Do I need a tube amp, or do I need that sort of hi-fi, solid state thing? One thing I always thought was interesting is like, people talk so much about how the solid state things are great for jazz, but it's kind of funny. We're talking about music that was recorded in the 50s and 60s where nobody was using a solid state amplifier. Everybody was using a Fender Twin or a Fender Deluxe,
I mean, you go back to like watching those clips of Jim playing with Art Farmer in 1964. There was like this BBC taping, and you can see in the background there's this old Gibson amplifier which looks like just an old radio. I think it had a 10-inch and a 12-inch speaker in the cab from memory. And and playing through tube amps, you still get that warmth, you still get that sort of the beauty that creates the sound. It's quite funny how as guitarists we use inherently lo-fi amplifiers to create the sound that we want. As opposed to every other instrument that goes through a speaker, you want it to be high fidelity.
Yeah.
But for us, it's like we kind of like the lower quality because that takes us back to that nostalgia of the sound of those recordings. And then
totally.
And so, but then when you have hollow body guitars, I think going through an acoustic speaker, it can really highlight those properties. And of course, with certain filtering, you can make it sound like a bit older or a bit warmer or a bit nicer. And the built-in reverbs, you can get some nice tones, I think, out of it, and find a way to create a period sound or a modern sound or a U sound. I think it's it's so individualized.
Cool, man. Well, yeah, you got a little demo for us through this cool amp of yours.
Beautiful. So obviously there's a lot of transformation kind of happening to the sound. We're getting compression and a bunch of other stuff. The amp is kind of transforming that initial signal.
There's now sort of different qualities of being expressed, and I think the great thing about sort of you can get sort of that compressed vibe from an amplifier. It means you can play much more delicately. And it brings out, the amplifiers will bring out that nuance that when you're playing acoustically, it doesn't really have that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So that's sort of, I guess that's your standard, your classic gig, like guitar, cable, amplifier. There was a touch of reverb on this setup, but it was really, I think, using that same guitar into that amp, you can hear those differences between its acoustic nature and, well, now it's amplified nature.
And I guess a question for both of you guys, how much of a percentage do you think the amplifier impacts your sound compared to the guitar? You know what I mean? Like where do you think the focus should be? Over to you, Victor.
Oh, I mean, that's a pretty loaded question. I mean, I think for me, I started to make a lot of headway in my progression when I was playing a guitar that was legitimately at the level of the people I was idolizing. And then I was being able to sort of create that sound and knowing that my ability was there. It was matching that because I was using now the gear to create that sound, which is the sounds that I'd always heard. It was, I think, playing a guitar of this caliber sort of pushed me to a higher level because now it kind of legitimized the work I'd put into it. So, but again, it's how, I guess, what you do with the tools that you have. I was just in a fortunate position to have tracked down a fantastic instrument for a fairly reasonable price. And I've grown with that instrument too. I think I've had it for 15 years now. Yeah.
Nice.
So, I mean, the guitar is a big thing, but then the way that you, I guess, process that information, whether it be acoustically or in an amplified process. Yeah, I think because if you practice acoustically, then you're getting used to playing acoustically and you're used to sort of that touch and that expression. Then when you play through an amplifier, especially if you play through an amplifier very loudly, or the amplifier is very loud, but you play very softly, well, then you can really understand the intricacies of how you play and how you approach.
Nice.
So,
anything to add, Ryan?
Yeah, I not to say the opposite, but almost a kind of a different perspective. I kind of found this growing up and not having, endless budget to get a super nice guitar and a super nice amp. I always felt like if you got a guitar that could at least was playable, that played okay, putting maybe a little more emphasis on the amp itself would kind of get you a little more mileage, I think, just because that's kind of the final point of contact between you and the audience is that amplifier. So I've seen people, I totally remember this, being in my hometown, seeing guys who would have like super amazing guitar, like some nice Gibson custom shop Les Paul or something like that, and then running into some little no-name combo amp with like a 8-inch speaker, and it just sounds awful, I was like, man, if he had cut his guitar budget in half, bought an okay guitar and then a nicer amp, it would sound so much better. But yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about, finding the gear and thinking about what kind of sounds you want. And I think it's funny too, there's some people who kind of don't think about it. Like, I remember hearing stories about Joe Pass getting older. He would just not bring an amp to a gig at all, and he was like, if they have a good system, I'll sound good. If they don't, I'll sound bad, whatever,
yeah. It's like the source is always the best.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He would leave it up to the venue or the engineers to do it. I think, so to elaborate on what Ryan was saying is, it's the amp is the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
And it can transform a cake. Or the cake can be pretty rubbish, but still good icing. But if you got rubbish icing, no matter how good your cake is, no one's going to touch that.
Yeah, it's good to have a good cake and good icing.
Good cake and good icing.
Yeah. balance the both. Good quality ingredients for both parts. Yep.
Interesting. Cool, man. Well, yeah. So we've explored like level 1 and level 2. What's next? What do we do next? What's level 3? I'm awaiting with bated breath.
So level 3, of course, is just a slight coloration of your sound. So I'm going to plug in a Comet coder. So this is a amp overdriver.
Ooh,
so
nice.
It's
okay.
what it does. It's specially designed so you can actually drive the tubes of your amp and get some interesting, more, I guess, organic sounds of sort of high gain. Now, I like a bit of grit in my sound anyway, especially for more modern playing. I mean, you just listen to players like John Scofield or Wayne Krantz. It's like, there's no clean there whatsoever. But again, we're talking about signal chain as being part of your musical character and your voice and your tone. So if you want a bit of grit, get a bit of grit. And we can throw it through this, and I'll sort of dial in a little bit of craziness, a little bit of grit. And instead of using the 175, I'm going to add however many extra Gibson points and upgrade to my ES335.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, nice.
That's great. I love how assertive that kind of stuff can sound. But I think, I still think it's at home within, that kind of straight ahead stuff. It almost kind of reminds me of, some of those lower fidelity Pat Martino recordings even almost kind of get that sound, Yeah.
So Pat Martino, in this interview I saw a while back, and it ended up making so much sense about his playing, was he likened each of his hands to Star Trek characters. And so his left hand...
Star Trek characters.
So yeah, his left hand was a creative, kind of like Captain Kirk, who would like make up all the fancy plans and stuff. But then his right hand was calculated and dead like Spock. And I just had this feeling of, it all makes sense now. That's how he sort of considers his right hand as this. I mean, you could put a whole bunch of you could put Pat Martino through a 5150 head and cab, and then he would play the pants off Eddie Van Halen. And then his left hand had this sort of creative genius of how it would navigate the fingerboard, and Pat Martino had so much to say and so much to play. And yeah, I think that creativity and the way that he sort of had that defining line between the two, with that story and likening to Star Trek, was kind of a big eye-opener or ear-opener for me.
Man, yeah. That dude was definitely on another planet in terms of playing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What I can't get over, I know this is a bit of a diversion, but I just can't get over that he became a guitar legend twice in his life. Can you believe that? Like not just once. It wasn't enough. Like he basically had to start again, and then he like pretty much became a guitar legend again. It just blows my mind, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He's definitely such an inspiration to a lot of guitarists, maybe not so much sonically, but I feel sort of creatively, and I feel a testament to having such a personalized sound and a personalized voice. I mean, that's kind of on theme for what we have today, is about exploring a few possibilities of how to personalize your own voice.
Totally, man. All right. Well, we've gone on a mighty quest where we've gone through level 3 now. But what now? What's level 4? I can't handle the anticipation.
Level 4 is by far the best application of series circuits ever.
Nice.
The pedal board.
The pedal board.
Nice. So we've had just one pedal right now. It is time to stack them and sort of really sort of get it going.
What have you cooked up for us in your pedal board kitchen here? Okay,
so this is sort of I condensed sort of my epic board to just the ingredients I needed. So this is my preferred pedal board with a whole range of different sounds, and mainly it's not sort of utilizing a lot of different drive sounds or a lot of different fuzz pedals, a lot of high gain. It's actually everything I've found is post amplifier, and so some interesting filters, or some delays, or some modulation effects. So what I like to sort of play around with, especially when I'm playing sort of more modern jazz gigs, that's a lot of my own material. I can play things that have a lot of, I can really customize and personalize my effects. And so we can sort of start stacking things. So at the moment, I mean, we'll just go through the clean sound. Sounds pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, we can, in this case, let's add in a little bit of reverb. Just a little bit of room sound. Or we can throw in a whole lot of room sound.
Wow.
So that's the Source Audio Ventris, and I adore that setting it's a combination of an Offspring reverb and their shimmer effect. The Source Audio Ventris has a dual DSP setup, so I've got the DSPs running in series in through each other. So
cool.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much to do. It's so much fun. Oh god. Okay. But I'll move on. So that's what we've got, sort of adding some different reverb sound. But say that we want some delay. I mean, good, just like a little bit of extra.
Nice.
Just adds that little bit of character to it. Or, I mean, this is a delay that I really like to play with. And
that is cool, man.
Yeah. It's so meditative playing with those sounds.
Yeah.
In combination, though.
Wow, that's from a celestial realm right there.
Yeah. So adding sort of delays and reverbs to that. Another one that I really like is this sound. So you can hear that crackling. So that crackling comes, this is from the Strymon Möbius. It's creating a sort of vinyl warbled effect. And with some filtering. So this is without it. Then with.
Literally a lo-fi sound. Basically.
Yeah.
It is yes, in all sense of the word, lo-fi.
That'd be great for film scoring, that, I reckon. You know what I mean? Just for taking you to a certain scene.
It's funny you say that, because in my guitar trio, I do a version of the Laura Palmer's theme from Twin Peaks. Right. And so if you get... For those that are fans of the show...
that's cool. Man, that's effective, isn't it, right?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. And like, again, like, this is just different ways you can create different character of your sound, or different characters within the narratives you're trying to sort of convey. another one I really love is a extra sort of pitches. So like I've got a electroharmonics pitchfork. And
awesome,
man.
So-
That was so nice.
yeah.
So then
Yeah.
let's just stack all this together.
Yes, please.
So
Sorry. Is this level 5 yet, or is this?
oh
like,
god,
like
no.
a-
This is level
Oh,
4B.
really?
Yeah.
We're still on level 4.
Still level
Man,
4.
my mind's being blown.
So this is when you start sort of. So what I've stacked together was my sort of celestial shimmer reverb, the pitchfork, and the warbler.
Man,
And-
that was wild. That
Yeah.
sounds so
So-
cool.
Now I want to sort of go to level 4C
Okay.
because then
There's a few levels in this
Yeah.
level 4, isn't there?
yeah, there's a lot in level 4. Now, so what I'm now combining is our delay sound, a pitch sound, a reverb, and one more that I love purely as an anti-melodic sound. The ring
Yeah.
mod.
The ring mod,
what
yeah.
in God's name is that?
So the ring mod, I mean, if you're sort of go into a lot of Wayne Kranz's improvising, he loves to use a ring mod. I feel purely as a rhythmic device because you can really get this thing to punch.
Yeah, it's like a sort of an Indonesian sort of instrument or something, isn't it? Like a
Yeah, like a
percussive instrument.
I think-
gamelan.
I
Yeah.
think that because of you have that microtonal capabilities of the gamelan, it really that's what you can liken it to for sure. I found it was sort of quite a digitized, if anything, comical sound that it's if you really want to just go, oh, I need to sort of vent something. I need to get this out of me, but I don't have the notes. I feel a ring mod gives you the notes because you just don't expect them.
Nice.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, so look out, guys. We're about to enter into the level 5 of this signal chain. But I guess just a quick question while we're on this is like, I guess for both of you, like how much of this do you use as an artist? Like obviously you've got these like infinite potentials you can combine. Do you find that you're using these a lot, Victor, or just a couple of sounds like this? Like how much do you apply this in your performance?
For all of my performances that I have, under my name, or where my creative voice is really being valued and put to the forefront, I would say most of the time.
Ah, okay,
I
there
think
you go.
when if I'm trying to be a period musician, then of course I'd go level like stage 2 or stage 3. And when it gets into sort of creating sounds like this is going back to our sense of this is my voice and this is my guitar character. And when I perform, especially when I'm performing pieces that are either mine or sort of, I guess, covers in a way. I mean, most jazz music is just covers, right? Because it's just playing pop tunes of a particular time period. That you know what the painting is, but it's painted differently every time. And the textural changes and the colors are changed. But you still know what the painting is. You still know what that picture is. And so whether I'm playing original music or covered music, for me, I'm repainting the same picture every time, but I'm not always using identically the same textures, identically the sally voices, identically the same characters. And I think that's as important as a improvising musician or just a musician that wants to create something new every time. I feel in classical music, sometimes it's about the precision of the recreation to be just immaculately perfect. And for me, I don't find much joy in recreation perfectly every time. I want something new. And every time I create a new song or create a new tune, I always like to have something individual about it in terms of tone. And so every time I play something, it'll be maybe a few different stacked reverbs. Maybe it might be a shimmer reverb, maybe a different gain sound or a different pitch shifting sound. There's a lot that you can play with. So I think it's an important thing to integrate this character. And this is just personally. This is just for me. But that's also, I'm not going to be playing that ring mod sound if I'm playing like in an Earth, Wind and Fire cover band.
Right.
Yeah.
Because again, it's a thing of taste, and it's a thing of like, if you're a period musician or if you're recreating that sound and that effect, then you do need to place yourself on some limitations.
Yeah. What I'm observing about you, Victor, as you're kind of getting into these sounds, I am really hearing your musical personality come through really clearly. You know, so it's a really good example of this as being a support for your style. You know what I mean? It's like part of your universe. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, thank you. Well, after several commercial breaks, we'll come back with stage 5.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
All right, so we've been through the several levels of stage 4. So now let's get into stage 5. What are we adding to our chain now?
Okay, so the chain has now gone digital. We've moved away from amplifiers and pedal boards in a sense, and we are now just dealing with ones and zeros. So, for the last almost 4 years now, I've been using a Neural DSP Quad Cortex as my main engine for just about all of my gigs that haven't been sticking a cable into an amplifier. For all of my pop gigs, all of my punk gigs, hip hop, alt rock, nu metal, R&B and soul, everything I've now been sort of converting into a digital soundscape. And rather than trying to recreate the sounds of classic amps and stuff, I've then been using this to even shape my sound even further, because it comes from like a very sort of a puristic state of this, the sound, the tone is what's coming through it, and then I'm shaping it around it and not trying to emulate classic amplifiers. The Quad Cortex is great because it does profile amplifiers like a Kemper, which is another digital amplifier. And in this case, I feel it's got to that 90 to 95% the way there. It doesn't react like a proper tube amp. It doesn't have that sort of sag, that punch, that the nasty nitty gritty, the nuances of when you dig in, a tube amp goes, oh, is that all you got? You've got more. You've got more. It's great. But then in a case, it gets a bit sort of difficult when a tube amp is so fragile. You take it on the road. I mean, you take it flying. I mean, you always have to have a flight case, and it's it's always just gets, by the time you get to somewhere, it's like, all my vacuum tubes, are they still intact? Have they shaken out? Have they broken? You rely so much on these very fragile pieces of equipment. And now this digital modeler is 2 kilos. And I run a stereo setup from it. Recently in Berlin, I did a silent concert where everyone in the audience had headphones. There was 120 people. And I was plugged essentially directly into their ears. And
really?
all the reverbs and all the delays that I programmed, and was just so much fun because it didn't rely on how good the venue system was. It didn't rely on how close people were. It didn't rely on the room acoustics. And I was just like plugged right into people straight away. And I loved that. And the only way I could do that is with this system. And not only can you sort of create this fairly sort of classic guitar pedal sounds in it, but you can do some real weird stuff. So before I take it away, do you have any questions?
I would say take it away. Take us into the weird.
Well, yeah, it's a weird time.
Okay. I'll play a little bit and then I'll explain what I've done.
Cool.
That was amazing.
So
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, what was going on there, man?
Okay. So I started with just playing a fairly standard signal chain of guitar into a modeled compressor, which was your sort of standard VCA compressor. And then that goes into the capture of my Mesa Boogie Studio 22 from 1986. Then that goes into a guitar cab IR, which is based off it's a 412 of the Fender Bassman cab. Then that goes into a stereo tape delay, and then next is a Hall reverb. So that's my signal chain for the guitar. But I feel your question isn't so much about the guitar sound. I think there was another thing in there.
Well, there was some dude playing off camera, wasn't he? Like got a bit of organ work or something. What was that?
That was me. So
right, okay.
What I've also created within this preset is every time I play a note, a tone is generated within a Muga Fuga module. And with that one latent tone, I then have it filtered so it goes back to almost like a sine wave. And then I run that through a fine tuner to make it a concert pitch. Then I run that through another transposer, and that transposer takes that one tone, and then it transposes it up to whatever particular pitch I want. But you can mix the difference, so you can turn one latent tone into a dyad, so 2 notes. Then you can run that dyad through another transposer and split them again for another set of intervals. And then you can send it through another transposer and then adjust where you want that whole tetrachord, so 4 notes. So we know the dyad is 2 notes, triad is 3 notes, tetrachord is 4 notes, anywhere you want. So the progression I was playing was B major, E minor, D, then C. And so the way that I've set up the preset within the quad cortex is I've set all of the different transposing qualities to different pitches for every time I change the scene within the preset. So I have 8 different scenes within the preset. I only have 4 chords in that preset. There are some songs I have 8 different chords. It just requires a certain amount of toe tapping, really, because I just essentially treat every new chord like a new pedal. And then when I want that new sound, well, I change it. So what I was doing is, as I was playing, I would think of the note that I was playing there, and I would resolve to the next chord, maybe with a hammer on or with a bend or something. And I mean, it's you can buy an organ player, or you can program it yourself and use your toes.
Wow. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I think it really expands the possibilities for solo playing, like what a solo guitar gig means, you know. It could be just you playing chord melodies, or it could be you doing this whole accompanied soundscape. That's really incredible.
I think with the there's so many possibilities now with digital playing that I can create these personal soundscapes. But the reason why I play music is to collaborate, is to play with people. So I only ever want to try and enhance everything else with these effects, and especially with some looping motifs. And there's a lot of fun, crazy things you can do as well. That I'm really excited that it can be what the possibilities are. And then, even though I've had this for not even 4 years yet, I feel I'm just still scratching the surface. There's so much more that can be done.
Yeah,
it's really like sound sculpting, isn't it? You know, like
in
you're creating
a way,
a sort of this form in sound.
Well, I think it's a case of, now I'm not trying to recreate classic guitar sounds. I'm creating a whole new generation of guitar sounds and really tailoring it to the sound I'm hearing in my head, not just going, well, I've got this Fender amp and I've got this Boss overdrive pedal and I've got this Holy Grail reverb. Let's try and make something out of what I've got. I mean, when we go back to the cake analogy, it's like I've got so many more refined flavors now to go with. I just don't have to go with chocolate anymore.
Yeah. So my mind is completely blown, Victor. This was really, really cool. So do you hear but at every single point in this signal chain, do you hear how much creative potential lies within each one? So and you can take this to the moon if you want to, or as far as you want, and really build your own unique sound through the kind of techniques Victor's showing.
I think it's a case of, what do you feel is representative of the voice you want to create and the thing you want to broadcast. And it could be that acoustic sound. It could be an organ simulation through a digital modeler. I mean, these are just the 5 stages that I feel I've used the most in my career. I mean, there's so much out there. There's so many different MIDI guitars, or working through sort of MIDI pickups and going to lots of different like software emulations. And yeah, especially with the integration of now being able to put the guitar so much within the field of ones and zeros. I mean, the sky isn't the limit anymore.
Yeah, right.
Totally. Awesome, Victor. Well, no, thanks so much for coming along today, man. And I'd love to share with our community, a little bit more about you. Like, where can they find out more about you and your albums so that they can dive into your music?
I've got some music on Spotify under the title Raz Rufus Tanzverbot. It was a quintet record that I released back in 2013. There's also another duo album I did with Tate Sheridan, a fantastic piano player from Sydney, Australia. And that was a piano guitar duo record, just like that whole Bill Evans, Jim Hall dynamic. And so that's called Documentation. And you'll be able to find this on all of your favorite streaming services, and also through my website, ViktorRufus.com. And
Victor's with a K, isn't it?
Victor's with a K, yes. ViktorRufus.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Victor. Have you got any final words of wisdom for our audience before we wrap up?
It starts here, but who knows where it ends? Only you do.
Oh, I love it.
Awesome. Very profound.
Thank you very much, Victor. Very profound indeed. It was great having you on today, man. That was heaps fun. And really looking forward to diving into some of those sounds myself. And we'll have to get you back on the podcast, man, to talk about some other topics, I reckon. This was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I'd love to come back and dive into a few other maybe guitarist-specific things. And maybe even talk about a few of the things that I've sort of cherry-picked over the years of different modern guitarists that are sort of very much big in the New York jazz scene as well.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Victor. Okay, guys. Well, thanks very much for watching today. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe to the channel, but maybe put a comment below this video or wherever you're watching or listening to this. What's your gear setup? We'd love to hear what ingredients you're using in your signal chain, so make sure you leave a comment and let us know, and let's get the discussion started. All right, guys. Well, wonderful to have you all tuning in for this amazing session. And Victor, once again, thanks very much for coming on to the Fret Dojo podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Ryan and Greg. It's been a pleasure.